And if you notice, when you're setting your pressure control, most vents will say pressure control above PEEP. Okay. Has anyone given that any thought? What does it mean to actually be above PEEP, right? Yeah, you're just like, oh, there's a lot of letters, so looks right. So, what's up? What's going on?
That's what I'm missing too.
Oh, okay. You guys are good classmates.
That's okay, well, yeah. Katie, come on, this is important.
Let's say that you have your servo I, which is PEEP compensated.
Basically everything but the Draeger, our friend the Draeger.
Yeah.
That's PEEP compensated.
And your physician says, all right, RT, I want you to set a pressure control of 20, which means that for every breath, you will increase your pressure in the system to 20 to deliver that breath, right? So pressure control, 20. Dash is not to scale. Let's say this is 20 right here. Well, you're never gonna have a vent system without PEEP. So let's say your PEEP is 5. And we can kind of forego the rest of the settings for this example. So your vent will always be at a level of 5 of PEEP. Or let me just fix this, I guess. 5 of PEEP, 10, this will be 15, this will be 20, 25. So if your vent is always at a 5 of PEEP, and your physician, or you, want to deliver an additional 20 of pressure for breath, you have to deliver that on top of the PEEP. Which is why for the servo I and for most vents nowadays, you will be delivering pressure control above PEEP. This means that your PIP here isn't going to be 20. What's it going to be? 25. It's like that quote, stand on the shoulder of giants. You're delivering on the shoulders of your PEEP. So, now this is what's actually delivered. The difference is, the only brand of vents that won't do this is the Draeger, because
Well,
Germany.
not the only brand of vents in the world, the only brand of vents here
Yeah.
and in the area. So the Servo, the G5, and the PB, all of them do what we just said there. Its pressure control setting is already above PEEP. So if the doctor, whatever you want your pressure control to be, you just dial that number in. So that's easy. Now we have the Draeger. And it's not hard, you just have to understand what to do.
Yeah, so the Draeger.
Yeah, any Draeger.
So the Draeger is non-compensated. So the line of thinking for the Draeger, which isn't incorrect, is that it wants your pressure control, whatever you set, to also be the PIP. So if you set a pressure control of 20, well, it's gonna give it its darndest to make sure that your PIP is 20, barring any kind of additional resistance. It's not really gonna care about what your PEEP is. It assumes you know that it's not compensating for that. So to the Draeger, you're starting at 0. For the other vents, you're starting at your PEEP. You get a head start. Draeger, no head start. You're not standing on your PEEP, you're standing on 0. So when you get to a pressure control of 20 for your breath, you really are getting a pressure control of 20. Even though you have the same settings, there's a difference of 5 here.
Yeah, because it doesn't account for the PEEP.
But it's doing the same exact thing? They're working the same?
So does that
Not
mean
necessarily.
No,
So
no.
slow down,
This is-
slow down.
This is what, he's showing you right now what it's thinking. So we're gonna show you how to adjust for the fact that it doesn't put the PEEP into the calculation. You basically have to add it in.
So yeah, so let's look at the difference here, right? To use a BiPAP terminology, let's think about this like pressure support. So when you have your difference between your IPAP and your EPAP, you're really looking at that pressure support number. You're not looking at just the IPAP, right? Same principle here. So let's look at the difference between our high pressure and our low pressure. So for the other vents, you have here to 25 with 5. So what is your total difference here? 20, right? That matches your pressure control. Now, how about for the Draeger? 15, right? Because your pressure, your max pressure here is 20. So essentially, your PEEP is kind of eating into your pressure control setting. You're not getting a pressure difference of 20, you're getting a pressure difference of 15 because your vent's only going to go to 20 because it's not compensating for your PEEP. So which one is going to deliver a bigger breath with the same patient? The servo. Because it's just giving more pressure. It's capping out at 25 instead of 20. Right? Is this making some sense? Okay.
So when we're setting up the trigger, we have to, if they give us a PIP of 25, we have to set PC to 25. Because
No.
your PC and your PIP are going to be the same thing, right? So you just have to
No.
kind of take out of the equation PEEP.
So if you're trying to achieve pressure control of 25 and you have a PEEP of 5, then you'd have to set your vent to 30.
30.
So
You
5.
have to add the PEEP in.
Just add the PEEP
You
to
have to
them.
add on your PEEP.
Yeah.
You have to manually do this, what the other vents are doing. We're switching colors.
Yeah,
We're all right.
thank you.
So, in order to get to this point, to be on the same level as the other ventilators, right? You have to set your PC to 25 because you have to add your PEEP in order to achieve that desired level. So, here's your new setting. For your Draeger. You're getting a PIP of 25, and you're getting the pressure difference of 20, just like your servo or your other ventilator.
Do you have a question?
So if you're telling us, I want my pressure control, or I want you to set the Draeger at pressure control of 25, then, or 20, oh crap, hold on, never mind. Come back to me because I forgot the trail that I was going down.
Whatever pressure control setting you're given by the doctor, or you decide you want because you have a protocol, you have to add the PEEP into that to make it happen. So instead of going to your dial and putting in this example, 20, you're gonna go to your pressure control dial and put in 20 plus the PEEP. So in this case, 25.
So in the Draeger, there's no PEEP dial, right?
Well, no, you still said
There's
PEEP,
still
but
PEEP.
it just doesn't,
It just
it doesn't
do
read
for
it,
you.
yeah.
So even though you're setting your PEEP on like the PEEP setting, you still need to add it into
Yes.
your pressure. Okay,
Yes.
got it.
And the thing you're changing on the Draeger is your pressure control to 25 or your PIP to 25?
No, well, you don't set a PIP, so your PIP will become 25 by making your pressure control 25.
Your pressure control to 25,
Right.
which is your pressure control and your PEEP.
Correct. So at the end of the day, your pressure control number that the doctor ordered plus your PEEP should equal the PIP. So if doctor wants 20 you have 5 a PEEP, your PIP would be 25 either way. And if you don't set it right, say you put your, you're on the Draeger, you had PEEP of 5 and pressure control at 20, and you put it on 20 instead of 25, it would only read 20 instead of 25. Because the pressure control that is ordered plus the PEEP have to equal the PIP.
Pressure control plus the PEEP.
Equals PIP for Draeger.
Yes.
How do you tell that an event is non-compensated?
By looking at your peak inspiratory pressure. Because if I dial in, because my pressure control number should always be minus my PEEP. Like if I want, so think about if your peak pressure is all the air that's needed to deliver your breath, it would include your PEEP and the pressure control number, right? So, Kristen?
Yeah.
Okay, so if my pressure control number is the same as my PIP, is it including the PEEP?
No.
No, so that's how I know if I go to an event and it's not PEEP compensated, because it won't equal the two of them together.
So, you'll notice I've put up an ABG. It should be pretty clear what you want to do with this. What do you want to do?
Increase the PEEP.
Increase the PEEP. You're on a Draeger. If you increase the PEEP, let's say you go to 8. You're cutting into your pressure control now because it's non-compensated. On a regular ventilator, if you go up on your PEEP, it'll bring up your pressure control with it.
Automatically, yeah.
But with this, since you go up on your PEEP just like a BiPAP,
Yeah, it's the same as a BiPAP.
you would go up on your pressure control as well.
Oh, so it's like your eyes.
Yeah, oh, now
It's
you got it.
literally
Yeah,
just like a BiPAP. It's the same,
yes, it's only for the Draeger.
only for the Draeger.
And the old LTVs are like that too. So there's not just, there's more than one. Go ahead.
Like on the servo, if we were gonna do it, we would change the peak to 8
And that's it. Yep.
Automatically.
Yep.
respirators.
Yep. I know. I don't know why they do it, but they do.
So
Some
then
German
for the,
thinking.
for the green example, your PIP would read,
For the green example, your PIP for a Draeger would be 20. And then after your change, it would be 23.
okay, so it's gonna be the same.
Yeah.
Just always make sure you add the PEEP in, basically.
If you were to leave it, yeah, no, yeah,
25.
25, my bad. Wait,
And 28.
23.
23.
no, because this is pressure control is 20, the people 5 on a Draeger, right?
So then your PIP is 25.
It would be 25, because you have to add
The two together.
Oh, yes.
And then here would be 28. It's the two together.
Wouldn't it be
No,
31?
but this is
He's going from 5
Yeah.
to 8, he's
You're right.
going up to.
It's because
But he didn't add.
when I was writing it, I was thinking about this is what we're actually setting in.
Oh.
But what Ms. Voss was saying was that this is what we want to achieve. So I've written this as set it to 20. She was saying it as get me 20.
Oh, got
So
it.
that's where our confusion was.
Sorry.
It's all good. It's something that happens in real life as well, especially with the Draegers.
Wait,
And
what's
this is
28?
31.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be-
31. See, we mess up our math too sometimes. It's the end of 4 hours of talking. Okay, so practice that while you're doing your practicing, okay? It'll make sense. You want your pressure control, your PIP to equal the two together.
Why is the PIP 31 and not 33?
23 plus 8 is 31. Last time I checked.
On the drain.
Oh, I was at 25, okay.
The 25 was the PEEP before you changed it.
Yeah.
Ignore the green 25.
Okay, yeah, let's just.
Okay.
Not do that to myself.
All right. Bye. No homework. Study. Work on this, the ventilators. Make sure you got these papers. You're not going to be able to practice.
Yeah, these papers are really good for
Who didn't get their papers?
When do we practice? We turning those in right now? Are we turning in our next papers right now?
No.
practice. They're just for you.
So we just put those values into a machine?
No, change those, they're wrong.
Oh, okay. I don't know, you guys like practice?
Trade giving each other different heights. Just use a random number.